19, 1945, D-Day. The invasion begun. Marines and landing craft braved the volcanic black sand beaches of Iwo Jima under heavy fire. The sky ablaze with anti-aircraft and mortar fire. Artillery from U.S. Navy warships pound enemy positions. It's slow going. U.S. forces report heavy casualties. Most of the landing craft, tanks, and Marines stuck on the quicksand-like beaches. It's too soon to tell what effect, if any, the heavy U.S. bombardment has had on the Japanese. D-Day +4. 5 young Marines and a sailor raise a flag atop the volcanic summit of Mount Suribachi. A photograph shot in haste of the moment. A photo that would have an effect on history like none before. From the quagmire of the bloodied Black Beach below to Motoyama Point, U.S. forces across the island erupt in a moment of revelry as the flag is raised. A brief moment of hope before the kettle begins boiling over again. Truly a battle of honor. After 36 days of fighting, the island succumbs to the Marines, with nearly 26,000 U.S. casualties and almost 7,000 American boys killed. More medals of honor awarded to U.S. Marines than any other battle in American history. 1 out of 3 boys who set foot on Iwo Jima killed or wounded during the invasion. Nearly all of the approximate 22,000 Japanese troops on the island perished. In taking his photograph, Associated Press photographer Joe Rosenthal captures a key moment in the battle. In the flick of the shutter, he captures an image that serves to unite the American people and inspire Americans for generations to come. Within days, the image sweeps the nation. The 3 surviving flag raisers soon embark on a whirlwind tour of the nation for the 7th War Bond Drive, raising an incredible $27 billion for the war effort. The image inspires sculptor Felix de Weldon to construct a replica of the photo on a monumental scale. First unveiled in stone at the gates of Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia. He then begins a larger version in bronze. The National Marine Corps War Memorial, 9 years in the making and weighing more than 200 tons, is dedicated in Arlington, Virginia in 1954 as a tribute to all United States Marines who have ever served their country.
6 boys representing their country met halfway around the world 60 years ago. Their image now stands the test of time in the tallest bronze monument in the world, the National Marine Corps War Memorial. But who were they?
They were 6 Americans, 6 men, six service members, chosen at random. They were the right people at the right place at the right time, doing their job.
Renee Gagnon from Manchester, New Hampshire.
If you took Renee's helmet off at the moment that photo was taken and reached inside Renee's helmet, you'd come out with a picture. It was a picture of his girlfriend. Renee stuffed it in there because Renee felt he needed protection. Renee was scared. Renee was 19 years old. Boys won the Battle of Iwo Jima.
Mike Strank, the loyal and dedicated leader among his fellow Marines from Franklin, Pennsylvania.
Maybe Mike didn't have to be on that mountain that day. 3 months before the Battle of Iwo Jima, Mike's captain tried to give Mike a promotion. Mike turned it down flat. Why, his captain asked. Because I promised my boys I would be there for them.
Ira Hayes, a Pima Native American from the Gila River Indian Reservation in Arizona.
Ira Hayes walked off that island of agony, and he was shocked to come back to the United States and be called a hero. Ira didn't see it that way. As Ira later said to the press, "How can I feel like a hero when 250 of my buddies hit the beach with me and only 27 of us walked off alive?"
Harlan Block from the oil-rich Texas Rio Grande Valley.
The guy putting the pole in the ground at the base of the pole, that's Harlan Block from Texas.
Franklin Sousley from the majestic wilderness hollows of Hilltop, Kentucky.
Franklin never let anyone have a bad day, had a great sense of humor.
John Bradley from the small town of Appleton, Wisconsin.
My father was a Navy corpsman on Iwo Jima. I learned afterwards, after he died, that my father probably held 200 young boys in his arms as they were dying, as their blood was draining into the sands of Iwo Jima. My father had a lot not to talk about. Boys won the Battle of Iwo Jima.
They hadn't put themselves in that position. They hadn't asked to be there. They hadn't expected or asked to have their picture taken. They certainly didn't ask to be made into a monument or to be brought back and sent out to sell war bonds. They just did the job that was put before them, and that was their duty, and they took pride in that. And now our opportunities now to raise the flag for Marines and sailors today. Are you the right person at the right place at the right time? But I think the ideal is still the same.
A moment never to be forgotten, immortalized in bronze. 6 young Americans raising a flag. It was an image of hope for their comrades at the time, and has become a symbol of pride for a grateful nation. For the Naval Media Center, I'm Petty Officer Robert Sekula.
All we knew was that there was some island close to Japan, which was a very strategic island, that had to be taken.
The battalion commander made the announcement very dramatic-like. He says, "Gentlemen, our target is Iwo Jima."
We're going to go through, we thought, very fast.
And I thought, my God, we're going to hit this island. It's a small island. We should be through with this battle in about 10 days.
The word that passed on to us is that we probably would not be landing because they had shelled the island and bombed it so heavily.
Constant bombardment for 75 days before we landed.
You felt sort of confident. My God, nothing can live through that. And, the talk in the Amtrak was, well, this would be a cakewalk. We can walk ashore.
We were very much surprised when that didn't happen.
The Japanese lowered the boom on us. They hit us with every weapon they had.
Then reality set in that this was not going to be a cakewalk.
They were calling down artillery and mortars.
That was human and material carnage on that beach.
The beach itself was made out of volcanic sand.
You couldn't dig a foxhole because it was like cat litter. It just came in on you.
Disembarking, you just literally sank right in.
Everything got stuck.
And they were using machine guns to sweep the beach.
I would take one step forward and slide back half of that step.
You could run in that beach until you dropped. From exhaustion, you might go 25 yards.
I couldn't move 10 yards without seeing either one of my friends either dead or wounded. Just rows of Marine dead stretched out as far as you could see.
People who just never got much of a chance at life.
What we did not know was how clever the Japanese were in the way they set their defenses up.
It was kind of a spooky situation where you had an enemy that was so lively and you couldn't see him.
They were dug in, I'm telling you, in pillboxes, bunkers.
They had tunnels, they had every conceivable kind of support installation.
Every square inch of that island had been grid coordinated, so they knew where to call down the fire.
All their heavy guns were all extremely well dug in, well camouflaged.
Our advance, when we were ashore, was literally yard by yard.
We didn't dare stand up or even crawl. We bellied.
Standing guard was very scary.
And everything is quiet and you don't see any gaps, but they're in those caves somewhere.
I couldn't let anything sort of prey on my mind.
We had land crabs out there, and they'd be crawling across your face at night.
While the flares were lighting the way, I would pick out my next 10 steps because you had boulders and tree trunks and limbs in the way.
If you've ever seen a tank explode, it'll just be a fiery mass. And at night, it makes a very interesting scene.
We had to go at them one by one. Flamethrowers were an absolute essential weapon.
Many of them committed hara-kiri down in the caves anyway.
We had 81% casualties in our battalion.
Our guys took quite a beating when they landed.
To make any difference at all on Iwo Jima, what wave you're in, you still are going to get hit on the beach.